CTV Cup English Speaking Contest. I'm Li Xin.
I'm Ji Xiaojun, and now we're going to welcome contestant number 4, Han Xu from Nankai University. Please go.
Can I start? Okay. My topic today is an unprecedented booming volunteer spirit. When the catastrophic earthquake struck Wenchuan on May the 12th, what did you see immediately? Immediately, it was the common volunteers who formed the first rescue team that drove towards the disaster area. Immediately, it was also those common volunteers who donated the first amount of money as rescue funds that flowed into the disaster area. Well, what do the above immediate responses signify? It signifies a subtle or profound change that has been caused by this earthquake. It brings us an unprecedented booming volunteer spirit. Chinese people used to think that volunteers were only the small number of people who apply to be. They're actually the great, the noble, or even the saint. It is just this earthquake that changed people's ideas totally. Because to be a volunteer, you don't need to be that noble-minded. A warm heart can just help you to be a successful volunteer. No matter where you come from, how old you are, what you do, so long as you have your love and want to show it to the world, you can surely be a great volunteer. Ladies and gentlemen, now is the time for even more changes. Let this volunteer spirit dominate our hearts and thoughts, and let us be more ready and active in lending our hands to those people who need it. The orphans, the miserable dropouts, and the poor and the needy. We need to do something to get these things changed. And we also need to keep this spirit booming so as to make our entire planet a better place, a place filled with love. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Now please answer the questions posed by the challengers.
Change is beautiful sometimes, and change is not easy to come by. It's easy to be talked about. It's not only in China, but also in the US, for example, with the new administration talking about change. But my question for you is, since you know the follow-up stories about Sichuan, how do you think about the inspiration of change has been implemented so far from the story that you know?
I think referring to the inspiration, one of the most impressive thing for me is that actually people's lives are really powerful. In the earthquake, I mean, especially after the earthquake, after a period of time, we have been realized that there are many really extreme cases when people are suffering a lot in the earthquake. And those kind of suffering might not be really be imagined by everybody here, but those people just endured those kind of great hardships and mishappenings, and finally overcome them to really be better men in their life. Not only can they survive, but also they can live better after the earthquake. So I think that is the most impressive inspiration I got, that people's lives can really be powerful as long as you can imagine. Thank you.
And we have to move on to the impromptu speech.
Please select a number.
I choose number 9.
Number 9. Let's take a look.
The National College Entrance Examination. For the past 3 decades, universities have had only this one yardstick for measuring the suitability of potential students. Given the variety of courses they offer, some universities have called for tailored examinations that focus on specialist fields of study. There are also suggestions that universities should set their own individual entrance exams, ignoring, if they so wish, students' performance on the national test. Our question is, should China's universities adopt their own entrance examinations?
Now you have 15 seconds to prepare.
Thank you.
Please start.
The current college entrance examination is actually highly condemned at home and abroad. But we know, because of the large population here in China, we can surely never get rid of it. But we need to bring some positive changes into the system so as to make it more flexible, more fair, and better for students. So we need these universities to have their right to ensure their ability to set their own college entrance examinations. By introducing that first, we're ensuring the benefits of the students who have some specialties. We are ensuring the opportunities to go into their dreaming universities to develop their future better. And second, we're also ensuring the benefits of the universities. Because by doing that, we can let a university choose the real students who want to go to that university, choose the real potentials that can have contributions to the academic and researching performance of the university. Ladies and gentlemen, we students should be granted more chances. We shouldn't be blocked by that one last chance, that is the college entrance examination. I will further elaborate in the debating section.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now you have to convince the three challengers in 3 minutes.
Well, in the beginning, you were talking about the Chinese entrance, particularly the college entrance examination, highly condemned in China and outside China. I don't think it's true. I think you are tragically wrong, because the world learns from China this examination system. The Chinese examination system is now being copied and being kind of emulated across the world. Go to Harvard and go to Oxford and go to Yale. These universities all carry out these kind of entrance examinations. So I don't think you are right. I think it is very irrational to cancel the centralized national entrance examination. These tailored examinations, in a sense, doesn't serve the need of these students, and particularly the students in general in China.
Thank you for your question, but I think I have to make it clear that actually we're here encouraging universities to set their own individual tests. Never means that we just get rid of that we had the central college entrance examination. They are existing at the same time. And also I want to point out that surely there are some good points in the college entrance examination existing, but more drawbacks. Let me point it in this way. Many students who are just taking the test actually have some other kinds of abilities besides the test that they are tested, like the math and like Chinese. They might be really specialties in some other areas. So we need to grant their chances to ensure their dream can be realized. That can also be really equal for them.
Well, why don't they apply to these special and, for example, vocational schools instead of to a kind of comprehensive university?
Okay, I get your question, but actually the vocational goods development in China, we have to consider it is lagging behind. So I think we need to ensure not only the rights, but also better rights for everybody. So I think it's really very reasonable and rational to let all the universities have the right to set their own individual college entrance examination besides the central college entrance examination.
Let me ask you this question. You are from Nankai University, and you are taking the only entrance exam in China. Are you saying Nankai is not your favorite school?
Actually, Nankai is my favorite school, but
So there is at least one exception in that statement.
Well, what we are talking about is actually just to ensure the majority's benefits. My individual case can mean something, but surely not everything.
If you're talking about the public, let's talk about the public.
Okay.
Let's talk about the whole overall picture. If every school is having their own exam, it probably means a lot of money have to be spent on streamlining and designing this exam, conducting this exam. A lot of money is going to be spent on as well, a lot of efforts. Isn't that a waste of time and money? And you think about the number of universities here in China, how much time and money going to devote to that? If we can use that amount of money for rural education, for example, we're going to get some fruitful results.
If there's no need to change, we will never ever think about change. But the current situation is that a lot of students are suffering, and even their characteristics and development are suppressed by the college entrance examination. I know that a lot of students just have great specialties, just have their great English public speaking skills, but they just cannot do well in the one last chance at this college entrance examination. So what I'm here talking about is really to ensure more fairness for more people that are existing in the society. Thank you. So, and also I believe that there may be introducing some financial issues. You have to invest some money, but compare with the fairness of the majority, it is worthwhile.
let's throw another example of CCTV Cup. Are you saying we should have 100 CCTV Cup every year just to make sure everybody will have their chance to be the winner of the competition, to show their real talent?
Okay, I got your question, but come down, ladies and gentlemen. CCTV Cup is not the only English-speaking contest we are here having. We have lots of smaller tests in our schools, in our provinces. We also have some those kind of national contests, just like CCTV English-speaking contest. There are many chances out there for students to choose, but for the college entrance examination, existing only one.
Now you're talking about differentiation. You're talking about favoritism. Universities, let's say Fudan University or Nankai University decide they want more people like you. They will design exams to encourage them. They will maybe discourage my friend from Huhehaute. I think you're saying two different things at the same time, and I'm confused.
Actually, the things are really different. Let me explain it to you. It is really more fair for us and really not that fair for the college entrance examination. Actually, the three people's logic is based on the idea that college entrance examination is good. So, only by introducing that, it is fair. But like I've just mentioned, is this really fair? I've just pointed out that a lot of students are suffering from those rigid and simple tasks like math, Chinese, or comprehensive math, science and arts. Those kind of tests cannot really test a lot of students' ability. So in order to ensure the fairness, we have to let more universities to set their own tests. And also by introducing this policy, we can also let students be differentiated.
Thank you.
That is the good way.
Thank
both
you.
sides.
Time
Thank
is
you.
up for this part.
Many thanks, Han Xu.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, and this is not the only topic that you are discussing. Lots of people are also interested in
Yes.
this topic. Let's take a look at the video clip.
I don't think so, because I don't think that's a feasible solution, because there's so many students, and if every college was to adopt their own entrance exams, then that would make way too many tests. And if a student should want to go to more than one university, it would mean they would have to take a great number of tests, which I think is not practical.
Well, I think that not each university has to have its own entrance examination, because there are so many students in China, and if each student has to take a special examination for the university he wants to go to, then it will be a huge administrational work for the universities. So I think there should be a special centralized entrance examination, and according to these marks, the student can choose his or her university.
Each university has different features and characteristics. And for example, just like me, I graduated from an engineering school, and it's completely different from those literature schools. So I think in order to get more ideal candidates for the university, it's better to offer independent, different style application or examinations.
Okay, and the points from different sides are all represented over here.
Let's see how the judges
Whether they are confused or
decide.
not.
Yes.
And the highest and the lowest will be eliminated. And the final score for contestant number 4, Han Xu, is 95.314.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Han Xu. Congratulations. Let's welcome the next contestant, the only female contestant in today's competition, Lu Yijia from the Communications University of China.
Welcome. Let's welcome the sweet breeze in this cold winter.
Thank you.
You're ready?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, as a girl born after 1980s and the only child in my family, I always believe, as I was told, that we are a blessed generation. We are the first generation in China growing up with TV and enjoying unshared love from family members. We are living a very happy material life, or even get spoiled, as many people believe. They use confident, smart, lazy, self-centered, rebellious, or lacking social responsibility to describe us. But if you spare a second to hear about what people are talking about us after the Wenchuan earthquake, you will find completely different stories about post-1980s. Why? because to some extent, the earthquake changed us and changed how people see us. Shortly after this terrible earthquake, it was our PLA men once again first appeared in the quake-torn areas, saving people's lives and giving help and hope to the victims. And the majority of them are post-1980s. They fought bravely and selflessly on the battlefield of earthquake. And from media, we saw several special weddings being held after the earthquake. On the wedding, there's no groom but only the bride, because the groom was at quake-affected area doing relief work. And the wedding, touchingly, turned into a donating drive in the end. Meanwhile, thousands of volunteers went to the quake-torn areas and giving their helps. Many of them are college students. They are giving their helps in a way that they themselves might never see before. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what our generation is now. Yes, we are changing, or more exactly, we are changed of how we are seen by others and by ourselves. And this is because of the earthquake. And I can say here today that we are a generation of hope for China, for the world. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lu Yijia.
And now questions from the challengers.
Okay.
I think this is a very, very good speech, and it also helped change my perception of the 80s generation. That generation, this generation is very much kind of stigmatized by some of these wrong kind of these flaws, and which are kind of imposed on you. Now, why the flaws and why these wrong perceptions of this generation? Can you kind of elaborate on that apart from this speech?
You mean those perceptions that people used to see us?
Right.
Well, I think this is because, first, we are born in a society that our parents, our foremen, has provided us with a lot of things that we need. So we really don't need to strive to get them. So we leave an impression for people that we really don't work hard. But really, there is always this kind of need and kind of spirit in our heart that we need to work hard. And, for example, liking social responsibility. My friend, who was at Chengdu when the earthquake struck, went to Pengzhou as a volunteer. And he told me that back, he said, actually this responsibility is always in our hearts. It's just we didn't have a chance to show this out. Only in this pivotal moment, when such natural disasters struck, then we have this chance to show this out, to show others and to show the world.
Thank you, Lu Yijia, in this round. Now let's go into the impromptu speech part, and please pick a number from the remaining numbers on the screen.
Well, I'd like to pick 8.
8?
Yes.
Like it or not, violence is an integral part of many modern movies. A James Bond film just wouldn't be the same without the destructive car chases and bloody punch-ups. There's no doubting the box office pull of such violence, and movie directors insist that they're simply giving audiences what they want. Critics, however, argue that not only is much of it unnecessary, worse still, on-screen violence foments violence off-screen. Our question is, who should answer for the increase in gratuitous violence in the cinema? Filmmakers or film-goers?
You have 15 seconds to think about it. Off you go.
Okay. Well, in my opinion, it is the film-goers who should answer for the violence in those movies. First, according to the study, audience actually have 3 readings of media message: accepting, rejecting, and negotiating. And if the audience are not media literate, they cannot resist those ill information and cannot make an informative selection of messages from the media. And media literacy, according to UNESCO, is a kind of fundamental ability for people to survive in the 21st century. This including the access, the understanding, critical thinking, and also the production of media message. If the audience, the moviegoers, can make a wise choice of the media message, then I think this will in turn push the movie makers to put less those ill information in the movies, and this will give us a better media environment. So I think the moviegoers should answer for the violence in the movies. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And of course, the challengers think the movie makers should answer for that challenge.
We argue that filmmakers are responsible. We don't think that the filmgoers are responsible because we invest so very much. The filmmakers invest so very much money, and they need to generate the return on their investment. That was the very first thing that they have on their mind. And so, in a sense, we would say that filmmakers are responsible because they need money, because they're greedy.
Well, since they need money, they don't really need to put those ill information like violence, sex, or too much commercial in it. Why don't they put something more bright in it to make money?
The fact is that we are living in a consumer, kind of a commercial society. Commercial society is characterized by the kind of money-driven entities and also the kind of excitement, thrill-driven audiences. In this case, I would say filmmakers serve the very needs of the filmgoers.
Well, that's the point that I want to say. It is the film goers need that push right now that push the filmmakers to put those information in it. And that's why the film goers should have a much higher level media literacy to make wise choice of what they need so that the film goers won't put so much in it.
There are enormous amount of information and things around the world that the film goers will be interested in.
Yes.
Violence might be one of them. However, it is not most of them. Shouldn't the movie makers, or rather, make enough films or interesting films that are not about violence, but other parts of the world, other parts of our life, instead of only feeding the audience violence?
So that's, okay, actually you mentioned there are many things other than violence that the movie makers can provide. Then why don't they provide that?
That's right. It's their responsibility. See, that's our argument.
Well, they provide that because the audience want it. They know that when they provide those violence in it, James Bond in it, then the audience will be really interested in it and want to see that. They see this point and they put it in it. Rather than, and it is not that, and they know that if they put something else like beauty, which they think will less attractive and make less money, as you mentioned, then they don't put it in it. And it's all because of pursuit of the audience of
then
the
what's wrong?
moviegoers.
What's wrong with being the audience pursuing violence and pursuing excitement and all this thrilling moment in film? It's human nature. Human nature actually enjoys the kind of violence.
Yes, but is all human nature good?
No, absolutely not.
Yes.
But then what's wrong with that?
So the pursuit, actually the kind of accepting of information is an all organic thing for human beings, and the pursuing for such information like sex or violence is, do you think it's good, it's morally good, or good for our spiritual life and our kind of moral construction of ourselves?
Why don't you sound like a right-wing conservative? Why do you worry about morals? Films are just for fun. We watch films just for fun.
Then we
instead
have
of for
already seen.
morals.
Then we have already seen so much kind of damages and bad influence to the teenagers, to the young people because of those films with so many kind of violence and ill information. Then how can you explain that?
I think it's not very scientific to associate the kind of violence and the impact of violence in film you see on young teenagers. There's no scientific evidence in this.
Well,
do you have any scientific
yes,
evidence?
As far as
in
I
this?
know, some kind of media experts have already done research on that to show that the violence in the media actually has this kind of bad impact and influence on the teenagers.
Is that your personal experience?
No, this is according to scientific research.
That's why you need a personal experience to tell me you are right.
Yes, and
have you conducted any survey like that?
And we need to have those kind of, I have already asked those experts to do this survey for me.
You have been watching 007 films. Are you a violent person now? Are you actually subject to that?
This is the point, because I am media literate. I know how to make a wise choice of what information I want to get.
I don't think
from
you have the
movies.
right to play God, saying that the audiences are media illiterate. I don't think you are right. You sound very elitist.
No, I don't mean they are media illiterate. I mean the level of media literacy is different for everybody. And in order to make the audience have a much higher level of media literacy, we need to kind of give more media literacy course and information to the audience, to the moviegoers.
Most people say that recreational, cocaine, opium, they're not good and healthy things. Your argument is that it doesn't matter. Let's let the suppliers, the movie makers are suppliers. Let's let them make the drugs available. And if the audience wants to use them, then that's okay.
Well,
most people would argue that that's not a very good idea and that these are poisonous things and they should not be allowed. And if you don't want to make them regulated by the government, then it's the movie maker's responsibility.
Well, then I don't think it's really appropriate to kind of relate drugs, the cocaine, with the violence in the movies, because they're different. The cocaines are kind of decay and poisonous to people's health and body. But for this kind of movie, they are indeed a kind of excitement for people, their spiritual life, but they are eventually not good for their long-term development. That's the point I want to make.
So you want the market to make it available?
Of course not.
That's what you argue.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll take a break now. This is indeed a heated debate, and CCTV Cup is good.
Yes,
so
right.
we do want to have a movie made about CCTV Cup English speaking contest.
And there's little need for viewer literacy for watching this program. Yes, I hope you would agree. Now let's take a look at the scores for you. The highest and the lowest will be eliminated, and it looks like you have pretty high score of 95.386.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And we're going to take a very short break and come back right after that to continue with day one of the 2008 CCTV Cup English Speaking Contest.
And still a little reminder for you, you can vote online for your favorite contestant. Just log on to website english.cctv.com, and the final result will be reviewed in day 4 of the competition.
Stay with us. We'll be right back. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to day one of 2008 CCTV Cup English Speaking Contest.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome contestant number 6, Yang Xiaohan from Wuhan University.
Ladies and gentlemen, when the Sichuan earthquake occurred, the entire nation was drunk on the Chinese economic miracle and was anticipating the Olympics. Yet, the disaster was bound to bring change. Premier Wen's quotation, "Difficulties strengthen a nation," did engender our feelings of unity and hope. Yet, we need to rethink for a blissful future. First of all, we have realized the need to improve our disaster management system. Changed by the earthquake, we are seeking to build a system that is based on a legal framework with clear responsibility and authority. Secondly, the outpouring of volunteerism has shown an awakening of the consciousness of citizenship. Due to long emperorship ruling, the Chinese people were indifferent to civic life. Changed by the earthquake, we have gained a sense of social responsibility. Furthermore, international cooperation has become an important means in battling natural disasters, and China has become more open to foreign aid. It is welcoming to see rapid international response and President Hu inviting help from countries such as Japan on initiative. These changes are indeed relieving, but had they come prior to any disaster, much pain and loss would have been reduced. The 2,000-year-old Dujiangyan hydraulic project still solidly stands and functions against the backdrop of damages to over 400 modern dams. Past glories prove we can be greater had we consistently and earnestly sought for improvement. If so, this realization would have been the greatest change brought to us by the earthquake. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. And now questions from the challengers.
You're saying that the earthquake has stimulated a desire for improvement and change, and yet this is the 30th anniversary of China's reform and opening, an enormous demonstration of a spirit of change. So I'm not so sure that it didn't convince me that the earthquake stimulated a desire for change. However, I did like your comments about disaster management system. You had some of your own ideas, which were very good.
Oh yes, I did. About the wanting to change, it's a coincidence that this year is the 30th anniversary of the Open Up and Reform policy. It has shown us that this decision for change has changed the country greatly and improved the country's situation dramatically. And so, if we were wanting for change on an everyday basis and always reminding ourselves that there are areas for change, then I think the country would be even much better. Much of the shoddy parts of this country's development are hidden in the prosperity facade that the country has shown. So we need to be reminding ourselves that there are always room for change.
But we didn't need the earthquake to remind us of that. I thought that your two other points were much better, talking about civic responsibility.
Oh, yes,
and it would have
indeed.
been better for me if you had elaborated on that point. Why is this such a new thing in China?
Well, in the past, the people were under the dictatorship, and thank you.
Now it's time for the impromptu speech. Please pick a number.
May I choose number 6?
No problem.
Turn on your TV, and chances are, sooner rather than later, you'll see a commercial aimed at children. Accounting for nearly 23% of the population, children under 14 form a huge consumer group. So it's easy to see why the major toy, educational equipment, and children's food companies swamp our television screens with commercials. Useful and informative, some would say. Others would disagree, criticizing such advertising as the exploitation of the most impressionable members of society. Our question is, should advertisements designed to influence children be banned?
15 seconds to prepare. And now your argument.
I believe advertisements designed to influence children should not be banned. After 30 years of open up and reform, we have observed increasing prosperity to the Chinese economy, and along with this phenomenon, commercials have become an inseparable part of our daily lives. Children under the age of 14 account for a large consumer group. Therefore, it's natural for these people to attract large numbers of advertisements. These advertising are part of a natural economic phenomenon and has not broken any regulations or laws ruled by the country. Secondly, these commercials have not harmed anyone in any situations. And thirdly, these commercials do provide us with useful, handy information about new qualities of new products that are suited to the needs of today's children. Therefore, I believe advertising aimed to influence children should not be banned.
Whoa. The challengers strongly believe they should be banned.
Well, I have to say we disagree with you totally, because according to some survey, people under, or rather children under 8 years old, they will not be able to identify the content in the advertisement, whether it is exaggerated or not, and therefore they tend to accept it 100%. Are you saying we should put on content on TV that are deceiving to the children?
Well, if these contents are deceiving, I don't think the government's laws allow them to be on TV. And children under the age of 14, I simply don't believe they have the spending power to buy the product themselves. It's up to the parents to decide. And if the parents do decide to buy products that are shoddy enough to harm the children,
you seem to once again put a lot of responsibility on the parents. Didn't you see the possibility that if the children being popped up by the advertisement, really willing to get the product, and the parents, with the very conscious mind, just decide not to, there will be from the very beginning, the childhood, a conflict between the children and the parents. And do you think that is healthy for our society in the future?
Well, it occurs all the time, even without advertising. I mean, a mother
But advertising is making it worse.
Well, it's not. I do not believe so.
What is backing your point?
Well, if a mother goes on the street for shopping and takes her kid, then the kid might see toys that he or she wants. And even without advertising, the kid will be attracted by the product. And sometimes they are attracted by illusions. And in this case, maybe some kind of argument might occur between the child and the mother. It's the same with advertising. It does not make it any worse when you have advertising on TV.
In China today, you see lots of obese children. Why are they obese? They're seeing commercials on television for candy, for sweets, for fatty foods, and so on, and this is causing a health epidemic that will grow in proportions in China.
Well,
this is harming Chinese, but you're not a good example of that because
Yes.
you have done a good job of avoiding the advertisements. But there are a lot of fat kids now in China.
Well,
Where does that come from?
I'm sorry to say you're dragging this question away. I don't think advertising is responsible for obesity in the modern society. And I must say that if advertising do harm people, it is other forms of advertising that are harming the society. For example, the government's laws clearly states there cannot be any advertising about hospitals. But we always see hospitals, especially in areas of human reproduction, those hospitals placing ads on television during prime time. I think these advertising are illegal and are harming us more than the advertising about toys or computer games or things that help the children's education.
But now you're saying that the government is incapable of governing ads. Earlier you said they were capable of it.
They should be. And if
But
things
they're
do
not.
occur not to the way we want them to, then it's not to the responsibility of the advertisers.
You seem to have a tendency of believing that the advertisers will only put healthy content inside the advertisement aiming at the children, but the reality is not. For example, if the video games, as you may know, that's targeting at children, sometimes even younger than 8 years old, there are violent contents inside those video games. They're not showing it in the advertisement, and yet inside the product there is. Are you saying that we should show to the advertisement of products that will tend to show some of the violent pictures to children?
Well, okay, let's assume that harm do occur, but banning is not the way. I mean, smoking cigarettes is very harmful, more harmful than advertising about computer games.
It is being
But
banned in
we are
public
not,
places now.
We are not banning, let's ban advertising in public places. But smoking, as I said, is much more harmful than advertising. But we are not banning it. There are much more harmful things in our society. But banning is not the way.
But don't
regulation,
you think there are many
yes.
harmful things in our society? Don't you think we should get rid of them one by one? And if we can do it from the advertisement aiming at the children, which are containing some of the violent content, where should we begin with?
Well, banning is not always the way. We are stressing regulations nowadays. We are reducing the government's roles to regulation and supervising rather than strict banning of the entire industry.
There are always loopholes in the administering. So why don't we ban overall?
Well, advertising for children's products are not so harmful as other forms of advertising that I've mentioned before.
You still have 1 second to go. Final statement in 1 second.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
That is a nice final statement, and that was a very nice performance. Many thanks to Yang Xiaohan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's take a look, actually, at the short video clip, because that's also been a hot topic in the society. So let's take a look at the short video clip.
就去禁止它是没有必要的，因为针对儿童的广告，你还得分好和坏。
Don't know how it's like in China, but at least from the West, many people get toys and they just discard them because it's not really, they don't really need them.
作为一个广告的话，还是应该会有小孩子看的那种。
产品是针对儿童的，你想卖给儿童的广告，你与其做给儿童，让儿童去要求父母给他买，还不如直接把这个广告的受众定向为父母。
各种各样的吃的，小孩广告上说什么吃的也买一个吧，试试吧，反正不太好。
好像电视上几个广告也是不错的，我总觉得。
广告时候播什么麦当劳那些汉堡包，看着那个看着挺漂亮的，谁知道一吃也就是那么点东西。
I think it's better to control ads than to ban them.
我觉得少儿频道就应该多增加一些那些公益性的广告。
应该分类，不是完全禁止。完全禁止是这个一定是一个商业社会做不到了。但是不适合儿童看的广告时间，你一定要禁止。
Yes. So obviously the commercials are not good enough for the lovely child in the video clip. Huh?
Well, the baby has a lot of awareness, right, when he sees an advertisement. Anyway, these topics are not black and white topics.
No.
In fact, there are a lot of areas where you can maybe combine these two. And let's take a look at the scores for Yang Xiaohan. The highest and the lowest are eliminated, and it looks pretty close to what the previous contestant got, 95.443. Congratulations.
Another wow and congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to the end of day one of the 2008 CCTV Cup by welcoming the last contestant of today's competition, Yu Hongjing from University of Electronic Science and Technology of China. Let's welcome him.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. May 12th, 2008, 2:28 p.m. This is the moment that changed the surface of our world. And to many people, it is the moment that changed everything. Earlier this month, I had the chance to go to one of the earthquake zones and work as a volunteer. Most of the rubble had been cleared. It was like looking at a wound that had stopped bleeding, left with only a dark red scar as evidence to the pain. And after 6 months, it seemed that the disaster had finally ended for good. But for some people, what has changed can never be made up for. Those who lost a brother, a sister, those who lost a spouse, a child. 6 months after the earthquake, they are still crying at night. The 6-year-old girl still asks her mother repeatedly, "Mommy, Mommy, why did Daddy die?" A question that no one can answer. For these people, the scar of the earthquake will remain in their hearts forever. Winter is coming, the first winter since the earthquake, and for many, this will undoubtedly be a long and hard winter. The chill in Sichuan seeps through the skin and bites the bone. Coats and coal are not enough to banish this cold. What they need is you. Each and every one of you, your love and your support. They need to know that they have not been forgotten, that we are still with them. And I believe that when they know that people all over China, all around the world, are still loving and caring for them, their hearts will truly be filled with warmth. Yes, they will. Thank you.
Thank you. And now questions from the challengers.
When do we need to be a sentimental speaker? When do we need to be a passionate speaker? And which one do you think works better, especially when you are trying to persuade people to do something?
Well, I believe that a sentimental speaker persuades people more because humans are emotional animals. We have emotions. And when the speaker and the listener have the same emotions, when they have this same ringing, it brings out the emotions of the listener. This persuades people. It forces a chemical reaction. This reaction is sometimes so strong that it moves hundreds and thousands of people. So I think to persuade people, a sentimental speaker is more persuasive. But actually for this competition, I do not think a sentimental speaker is very good. But I did that speech not for myself. I am not here for myself. I am representing my province, Sichuan province, where people suffered from the earthquake. So I do not care if I show up in first place in this competition. All I want to do is tell people watching the television that people in Sichuan still need you. Thank you.
I'm sure they've heard you. Thank you. And that was the Q&A session. Now let's move straight on to the impromptu speech. Please pick a number.
Number 3.
Number 3.
For decades, the medium of television has enjoyed a seemingly unassailable position as our principal source of news and entertainment in the home. Now, however, television is facing a major challenge from digital, computerized, and networked information and communications technologies. Internet TV, mobile TV, blogs, video sharing websites, online gaming, and virtual communities offer wide choices and more immediacy. and would appear to be the future of news and entertainment, not only in the home, but also on the move. Our question is, will new media be the death of television?
15 seconds to prepare. Please start.
The internet and telecommunication technologies are giving birth to new media. And yes, these new media do pose a threat to television. But I believe that this will not be the death of television. I believe these two forms of media can coexist. First of all, not everyone has access to the internet. Some people don't even have concept of these new medias. For them, the only choice is television. Secondly, I believe that television has already become a culture for some people. It brings out family atmosphere. People watch television together as a family. So I believe, in addition, I believe that television and internet and these new media can coexist. I believe that they do pose as a threat and challenge, but every challenge is an opportunity. Behind every door lies a whole new world. I think that these new media, the rising of new media, will truly bring out a new shine in television.
Thank you, and thank you for the comments, because I feel safe now. I can keep my job now. Thank you. But they don't agree.
I really share your thoughts, Xiaojun. Now we have some very young and passionate TV viewers as well. Well, as you may know, I would definitely disagree with you that we believe the new media will mean the death of television. And let me tell you why. They are the new kids on the block, and therefore they attract a lot of attention, a lot of investment. Without attention, without investment, television is going to die. Unfortunately, I am making the statement here. Go ahead.
Well, yes, I believe that a lot of attention, a lot of investment is being put into these new forms of media. But look around you. All these people have jobs. You can't just fire them. These people have jobs. You need to keep on paying them. And I believe that, yes, a lot of investment, a lot of attention is being drawn away. And this is a challenge.
Wait. Hold on a second. You're saying
Yes.
that because there's people employed in a job, we can't fire them?
Well, you can't just fire people.
You can't do that. And that's not, come on.
It's immoral.
It's immoral,
We don't
okay.
even need to fire
we would
them.
still be,
We have
still be
signed
making buggy whips if you were in
Yes.
charge of the economy. Still be making buggy whips and would not have new technologies. No,
You don't even have to fire them, because you can switch them to web TV.
Right.
That's as simple as that.
That is true.
How do you
Yeah.
get progress if you can't change out of industries?
Yes, new media does have a lot of advantages, but you say that people can switch to web TV. But the television, the television that's in the living room where people watch it on the couch, this has something that web TV cannot replace. It gives people a sense of family when people are sitting together. And also, a lot of old people are more convenient when they're watching the television.
With the new media, you will have a virtual family from all over the world gathered together for one program. Isn't that wonderful?
Well, I believe that a virtual family is definitely different from a real family. There is a lot of online dating going on around, but I think that you have to see a person really in person to know that person, to have this intimate relationship with them. And a virtual world, people say that the internet connects people, but I think that it places barriers between people.
How come?
Yeah. Well, because on the internet, people will lose their identity. You're not a real person on the internet. You can be anyone on the internet. And so when you say stuff, you're not representing yourself. You're representing your fake ID, which isn't really you. So when you say something, you don't have to be responsible for it.
Then you're arguing the other point. You see, we can improve the new media. It doesn't mean that the old media could still live.
Yes, the new media, you talked about they're the new kids in block, but we can see that the invention of television hasn't killed newspaper. People are still still reading newspaper. And in fact, I think that new medias will in fact improve old medias. Like after the invention of television, newspapers, they must change their stuff, their columns to attract more people because they still need to survive. So in order to survive, they're improving themselves. They're making themselves more diverse.
Or in terms of attracting viewers or readers, in a sense, I think the new media attracts more people, attracts more actually attention. For example, TV is always very late in terms of covering the real current events. While the web TV, the internet actually are very fast, the coverage is very timely and is also quite accurate. I mean, everyone can be a reporter, whereas it takes a professional to do TV coverage.
With your point, I disagree. You say that, yes, the internet is faster because everyone can be a reporter, but are they reliable? If anyone can be a reporter, sometimes their information is wrong and is biased. But
no, I don't think so. Think about the London explosion. Think about the victims holding their cell phones, covering the real event over there. It's really timely and it's also accurate.
Who can promise that that individual is what his information is real? But we know that the media, CCTV, these big medias, they have been around for a long time, and their information we trust that information because they have been around a long time. But an individual, he can only be responsible for himself. What he says may be not true.
That's democracy in an age of electronics. It is new age democracy. Don't you believe so?
Yes, it is democracy. And we should not try to enforce that. We should not stop these people. They can keep on with what they're doing. But my point is that the internet...
Thank you.
Yeah.
Time is up for this part. And actually, relax. We do agree with you. It's immoral to, just fire people like us. So, can you be our president?
No one's going to fire you.
Anyway, our judges are now working on the scores.
Yes, and Yu Hongjing is the last of the 7 contestants of day one's competition.
Mm-hmm.
So, while we congratulate you, we would like to thank all the 3 challengers for doing a wonderful job. Many thanks to you. You can relax. Thank you.
Many thanks. Thanks, and your job
Would you
is
like to
done
say
for
something?
today.
Yes, please.
I wish you could convince my daughter to sit in front of the television with me at home. She's on the internet while we're watching television.
Yeah, for me it's the same. I watch YouTube more than CCTV.
Well, we hope that habit will change very soon after this competition.
Definitely.
But I noticed, John and Jimeng, that during this round of competition, our contestants, they come in with different styles. Some are really relaxed, some are very elegant and eloquent, and some are really like the new kids on the block, in a way.
So what do you think my style is?
You are a pleasant surprise. You are a very pleasant surprise. I strongly admire you for your actually this candid, this kind of the emotions that you put into this speech. Your language quality is also very, very good. I know that you actually, at one point you were talking about coats and colds. That's a very, very powerful kind of alliteration you use in this speech. I congratulate you and I commend you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now we have the scores for contestant number 7. The highest and the lowest are now eliminated, and the final score for you is 95.443.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
A big smile. And now we're going to invite the other 6 contestants to be back on stage to join you. Welcome back.
Now, we already know your final scores after day one's competition. We can tell how impressed the judges are of all of your performances. But whether or not any or which ones of these can enter on day 4's grand final is something we'll only know after the day after tomorrow. But one thing we can decide today, which is...
That is the Audience Choice Award, and that's going to be decided by all studio audience members. And now you're going to pick up the voting machine just under your seat. Press the number of your favorite contestant, and then your vote can decide who will be winning this grand prize.
Yes,
The first
and don't
pri-
forget to press enter after your choice.
And we shall be able to see the results on the screen.
At the same time, if you're sitting in front of the television, you can always click online and make your favorite contestant's choice over there.
Yeah, exactly. By just simply logging onto the website
English.cctv.com.
And for all those viewers watching the contest at home, you can actually do the voting right now for all the 23 contestants. Now we have the result of the Studio Audience Choice Award. And let's take a look.
Take a look at the big screen.
Goes, and the award goes to contestant number 3.
Please step ahead, yes. Shi Yupeng from Fudan University, congratulations.
Now, those who have voted for contestant number 3, please raise your hands.
Okay, there's a lady in the middle.
And she is going to present the award to contestant number 3.
Congratulations, Shi Yupeng. Congratulations. Why do you think he won your heart?
I think his English is very fluent. I like him most.
Shi Yupeng, would you like to present a small gift to this very elegant
sure.
lady for presenting that certificate to you? Thank you. Thank you.
And now we have the standings for the 7 contestants in day 1's competition.
Let's take a look.
Those are the standings for day 1's competition, and once again, we don't know who will be making it to the grand final in day 4, but we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Please do remember to tune in tomorrow at the same time to CCTV International for day 2 of the 2008 CCTV Cup English Speaking Contest.
And before we go, still the little reminder, do log on to the website english.cctv.com to vote for your favorite contestant. Your vote can make a difference.
Yes, and thank you very much for watching. I'm Li Xin.
I'm Qi Xiaojun.
See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.